The study of literature involves the development of creative and critical thinking skills, and this encourages the students to develop the links between the local and the global. And this is only done with efficient collaboration and human communication. So these skills are very important in the 21st century as more jobs are becoming outmoded. And if we want to remain relevant, we need the study of literature, which machine thinking cannot do. There's the rise of artificial intelligence, and only literature can equip us with this kind of thinking.
I still have them. I may not be as pretty as I used to be, but I still have my legs. How about it, Mr. Frank? I'm not asking you. I'm asking Mr. Frank.
Having a class in the Literary and Cultural Studies program is like being with people who are open to new ideas and people who think the way you do.
Literature prepared me to be in this certain position. It gives us a lot of things, amazing things to be proud of, you know? Things you would never have imagined.
Remember, Mr. So-and-so. Remember, I am a lady.
Literature and the humanities teaches us in some small or big ways what it means to be human.
Taking up a class in the literature program is one of the most fulfilling and most joyful things that I've ever been through as a college student. It's like discovering worlds upon worlds, and the best thing about it is that it never stops. There's always something new as humanity progresses and as we move forward.
You get to read different books, novels, poetry, plays, and from there, if your imagination would actually run around, and from there you can get the chance to make your own style and eventually get your hands on the keyboard and actually write.
In literature, it gives us a chance to really look at concepts or theories from different lenses or different cultures, which gives us a broader view on things. And with critical thinking, we don't judge easily, we don't make haste decisions. So I feel like with literature, it just makes us wiser.
Study of literature has definitely helped me a lot. Personally, it has helped me be more understanding of others. It has helped me be more patient, kinder, and in life it has helped me build stronger relationships.
The classroom is actually a very, very important place, and it's good to be able to interact with the students, and they respond to all kinds of challenges.
The professors in LCS, well, we have a lot of literary superstars. The COPE loves calling them literary superstars. And it's true. You have highly esteemed professors who are there to guide you every step of the way. If you need help, they are very happy to help you.
Our professors are so amazing, they're so outstanding, they're very, very, very good at their job. I hope to someday be as good as them at what they do, because they are constantly inspiring me and pushing me forward to write better content and to become a better student of not just literature, everything in general.
The professors in our program are all great. They really have different strengths, and all these strengths, they really work well. Just really something to admire. I don't know, I just feel their passion, and it makes me also passionate about the programs.
The literature program in USC makes you into a family. It is like a family to you, that all of those ideals, all of those debates, it's like you're fighting with your siblings and all. But at the end of the day, there's one thing that you want to know, you want to learn, and they would really help you out. Especially with the professors, they are so amazing and very knowledgeable, very strict, but very firm, and at the same time you could definitely learn a lot. So I think It's one of the best things that happened to me.
During my time, I have like 3 professors for my entire coursework: Dr. Hope, Dr. Alburo, and Dr. Filipinas. And I can say that all 3 of them are basically my favorites because I learned a lot from them.
The teachers I could, call out are like si Miss Bea. Aside from Miss Bea's very pretty face, so very nice to listen to, and we pay attention. She's really good at discussing and making the material easier for us to understand.
Sir Charles, honestly, I see Sir Charles like an older brother because of the way he likes interacting with the students after class. He is there to ask us how we're doing in our other classes. If we need help with the story, Sir Charles is there to critique our story.
Miss Bea is really great. I'm more of an academic writer, and so in her class we write research papers every term, and through her I've been able to develop my skills as a researcher and as a writer to become more sufficient in what I do and better at what I do.
And of course, I'd never forget to mention Doc Hope. We had heard so much of Doc Hope before we actually met her from the seniors, and we kept thinking, oh my gosh, Doc Hope has so many awards. She's been abroad. She's called abroad to give her lectures, and we didn't know how to deal with someone with that much brain cells. It's a common joke in LCS na we don't have the brain cells to handle a specific professor. But when we met Doc Hope, we realized she is just like a mother to us students.
Literature is taught in USC in a very interesting way, no?
Well, in USC, literature is always taught with food. My fondest memory of grad school is always classes with food and books and food. For me, that's the perfect combination.
In the Department of Communications, Linguistics, and Literature, the literature teachers are actually very close to each other, and as teachers, they are individually very strict in their teaching, in their approaches. Although they show motherly care or fatherly care to the students, they always make sure to achieve the purposes and objectives of the subjects.
If you look at the way Dr. Alburo teaches it, you get a sense of how great her experience is in terms of literature. You get to understand the things that she has done, the things that she envisions to do for her class. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, if you look at the way Dr. Hope or Dr. Yu teaches literature, it's very close to heart. It's as if literature is part of her. The way she imparts her knowledge or the things that she has learned or that she knows about literature is somewhat likened to how a mother teaches her children. So I guess that's the reason why most of us call her mom. But in a sense, if you think about it, Dr. Alburo can also be called our grandmom.
All the professors are extremely cultured. They're very cultured and very friendly, and we can talk to them, we can vibe, as we call it.
Basically, in literature, it's all about forming a human connection with the people. That's what everything is about. That's why it's under humanities, because we are learning about our society. We are learning about us. Literature is a reflection of us, the way all other forms of art are.
So one of the things literature can teach you is that it allows you to examine the multi-sidedness of any situation.
I've gotten the skills to be able to consume everything critically, such as video games, TV shows, podcasts, YouTube videos. I think the scale of how much we consume media now really requires everyone to become more critical with how they think and how they consume things, because not everything is inherently good, and not everything presented as inherently good is good. And so as people and as consumers, we must try to dismantle as much as we can of content so that we can come to our best conclusions for ourselves.
In 2008, we had this class on poetry and fiction, And it came to me that, the students did not know who our writers are. Actually, I belong to a group of writers, so it's easy for me to be able to access them. But then the students don't know what their faces look like, don't know what they've written. And so we came up with this class project to interview the Cebuano writers, not only talk about their lives, their poetics, but also about their work. So the first project with the students was this Kapulungan, Conversations with Cebuano Writers. And then they were able to interview about 21 writers here. So this is a product of my students in the poetry and fiction class. And then, because it was so popular, the next class that we had, I had another group of students and we came up with this class project. And we have 24 writers being featured here. So what the students do is they meet the writers, interview them, and talk to them, and sort of get that feel about the creative juices and all that. And maybe by osmosis, it will be able to transform them and also inspire them to write.
There were a lot of important readings, and we were asked to submit critical papers from time to time. We also had opportunities to have our works published. Like on my part, we had The Small Wonders. It was a compilation of our outputs from our essay writing class, and also Kuluka Bildo. It's a compilation of interviews we've had with some local writers.
I also taught another class for essay writing, and in a class of about 35 students, we decided to look at the best of their writing and compile them into this collection. The students were so overjoyed because they were featured finally in a book. They wrote about 8 essays, but we featured only 1 or 2 of their essays here. So I'm very proud of this. They were very proud of this collection, so we have that.
On top of those fun activities, we also have these outputs that prove we are capable literature students who know how to translate stories from Bisaya to English.
One of the areas that really fascinate and involve me, I'm passionate about translation. We came up with several projects aside from what the students have done. This is a collection of undergraduate students translating poetry from Cebuano into English. So it's a collection, work by students, and this one as well. Lorian Onabia is a very important Cebuano writer, but my students had translated this, so all these names were in this collection. So in that process, you get to to transfer skill, aside from teaching them how they find their own ways to translate, you engage them in the classroom.
One specific class that really blew me away was the class with Dr. Hope Yu in the MA program. It was Filipino writers in English, and until then I had only been reading Western literature. So the course with Dr. Hope was such an eye-opener. I learned of Filipino writers that I had never heard of before, and it really led me down a rabbit hole, in a manner of speaking. I think from the moment that I met Dr. Hope until now, most of my readings have been by Filipino writers. So that has been a passion that she really brought to life in me. And I also learned Cebuano literature, and I learned how I see the world today is so different because of the classes that I took in the MA program.
What I liked about comparative literature and post-colonial literature was that the readings from one subject would complement the readings in another subject. So, like in comparative literature, we took up a lot of mostly Indian novels, And in post-colonial literature, we took up a lot of readings that articulated the perspectives of writers from formerly colonized countries like those in Latin America, Africa, Southeast Asia. So the readings really sort of complemented each other, and I was able to gain like a wider perspective on really what it's like to live in a post-colonial world.
Different approaches are applied by different teachers, but we try to make sure that we require students to be very critical with their outputs, try to relate them with social issues, trends, or current events that will really align to the context of the different readings that we assign them.
Definitely, my education in literature prepared me for a career in publishing. I've been an editor since I graduated, and until now I still enjoy the job. My education in literature prepared me for the kind of stories that would be told from these authors that wrote stories that we have to edit. I learned to respect their right to self-expression, how good stories are made, the different elements that come into a narrative, and what makes it engaging to the reader. If not for my literary background, I wouldn't have survived a career in publishing. And I think my literary education definitely set me up for life in this publishing field.
Probably the biggest influence my undergrad literary training has on my current job is in helping me realize that the stories I tell should establish an effective link between what kids learn from these stories and how these values can help them become better members of the society.
Being a literature major not just prepared me for the future, but prepares me for the present. It has broadened my reason, my perspective, and allowed me to have more compassion and understanding of what goes on in reality, how relationships are formed between people, how they make their own stories.
Aside, of course, from having been trained on excellent communication skills, literature has also helped me build essential skills such as critical thinking, thoughtfulness, listening with intent, empathy, leadership, and anyone in the learning industry will agree that these are the skills of the future.
I found a family here in USC. I found it with my peers, I found it with my professors, I found it with the other people in our department. Sometimes when a door is closed, the window opens, and that window was literature.